Hey everyone, and welcome to episode 3 of the Speaking Of podcast, where we explore a variety of topics, share stories, and have engaging conversations. I'm Jack.
And I'm Stuart, but our conversations have a slight twist because each of us nominates a taboo topic for the week that we're not allowed to talk about. If a person speaks about the other person's taboo topic, then they lose the podcast for the week. And then at the end, if neither of us have spoken about the taboo topic, then we just have to guess what the other person's picked. So, have you got your taboo topic for this week, Jack?
I do. It's lined up, ready to go.
Lined up. So we must apologise firstly because we missed last week's podcast episode because somebody was on holiday in Ibiza. So how was your holiday?
Yeah, it's good. And you must refer to it as Beefa, not Ibiza. Beefa, just like Beefa. Yeah, Beefa. That's the proper way of saying it nowadays.
How was Beefa?
It's fantastic, but super expensive. And I say it every single year. It's just becoming more and more expensive, and I keep going. I don't know why. So
I think that's because you're getting older, so you just see the money more. Like when you're younger, you're like, you don't care at all. You're like, yeah, I don't care how much the beers are. Yeah. And then when you get older, you're like, ooh, this isn't what this costs in the Dog and Arms down the road.
In the Dog and Arms, I love it. Yeah. If only my pub was called the Dog and Arms.
Yeah, you're cruising to middle age. That's what it is, Jack. You're cruising into middle age.
This will break your heart. How much for a bottle of water?
How much for a bottle of water? Where? In a club?
Yeah, in a club, yeah.
Ooh, I reckon £6.
Okay, more?
More, £8.
More?
£10.
By the time you do conversion, I think it's like £13. It was sometimes €15.
That is ridiculous. Yeah. That is ridiculous. Okay, I'll let you have your moan about the cost of living in Beefa, the cost of spending, yeah.
Yeah, it was well worth it. Anyway, Stu, I have something that I'd like to talk to you about. Speaking of...
it sounds like you're calling me into your office. I have something I'd like to speak to you about. Step into my office, young man.
I'm quite interested to get your opinion because you're a very opinionated person and you're quite well versed in your judgment.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure how well I take that. You're a very opinionated person, but go on. I'll carry on.
That's why we have a podcast together. So, here's an interesting stat for you, right? And I read about this and I watched a video of this on YouTube talking about the price per Olympics and the increase that they went on. London's cost about £20 billion and the Paris Olympics cost £9 billion, or that's at least what they wanted to aim for. So it's almost half, right? There's a huge reduction because every year before then it had almost doubled as the Olympics went on. And you can imagine inflation, etc., so on and so forth. So I'm curious, what do you think so far of the Paris 2024 Olympics?
Ooh, so interesting. Now, you're really lucky because I nearly had the Olympics as my taboo topic. I nearly had it as my taboo topic.
We have to talk about it.
But I was like, oh no, it's going to shut down too many conversations. So, firstly, I think I deserve a gold medal just for watching the whole opening ceremony. It went on.
Oh, you watched the end to end?
Forever. I didn't watch end to end. This is just for comedy purposes because I just couldn't. I didn't watch end to end. Like the bit with the boats and all of that where they were coming along, it just took forever. Did you see they made a public apology because they referred to South Korea as North Korea?
No, I didn't see that. I've seen so many things, but I didn't see that.
They had to do an apology because they called South Korea North Korea on their little boat trip and stuff like this. I mean, it was always a risk. I think for the opening ceremony with the weather was really, really bad. You might think. I think it would be safe to kind of go. Hopefully end of July in Paris is going to be good weather, but the weather was not their friend there. Obviously, there are some controversies over the scene with the drag queens and the blue dude and stuff like this. There's lots of upset people.
Like the dinner scene, right?
Yeah, but there always will be. You'll always upset people and things like this. So. Yeah, it was long though. What I'd love to get is the opinion of some French people on what they thought of their own opening ceremony. Because obviously, when you talk to Brits, they all love the 2012 opening ceremony. It was, oh my God, it was amazing. The whole thing was the best Olympics ever. So I wonder whether you're just really biased towards your own Olympics and whether they're going, oh, it was amazing. I mean, like the whole light show coming off the Eiffel Tower, amazing, really cool, stuff like this. But it was an odd one. I think if I was an athlete, I think I possibly would have felt cheated by going along on the boat trip, because I think there must be something for coming into the stadium and just having the roar of the crowds going and all the applause, and you give your little waves and you've got your flag and stuff like this. I don't know whether they necessarily would have got the same effect kind of cruising down the Seine in a little boat and stuff like this.
So
so that was interesting.
I did try to remove my bias. I said, if I was living in Paris, would I think it was amazing? So on and so forth. And the way that I tried that is by just imagining what it would be like to see those boats go up and down the Thames. And even if I was on the edge of the barrier looking at the athletes, I probably still couldn't tell who was on that boat.
No. Yeah,
so I don't know. I don't know if it would be that good. Yeah, I don't know if it would be that good. I think they dropped the ball in this one.
Because at least if you were in a stadium, you would have cameras on them and you'd have big screens. I didn't notice whether there were any big screens that were along the edge of the river. So you would have seen that. You probably would have seen just as much on those screens as you would have done in a stadium or arena if you were like up in the gods and you were looking down. But
I think it's that atmosphere piece that you're talking about, right?
Yeah,
like at
absolutely.
least. This is outdoors. If it's raining, you don't really want to be there and you're kind of like, bouncing away. But if you're in a stadium, you're somewhat sheltered. And then you also got the energy of the crowd. You can go to a dry place. You can come back out. And I don't think it would have lasted that long if it was in a stadium.
And I think about... And so all I could think about as well when I was seeing this was like New Year's in London. I've never gone and done New Year's on the Thames and stuff like this, but it always looks to be absolute chaos. Everybody rammed in, really, really awful, and I would just think, oh my goodness, it would just be exactly the same. So I wasn't massively in love with the opening ceremony, just with désolé, but that is how it was. There's been a bit of, I think we've had a bit of scandal in the UK though, as well, about who's got the rights to see the events as well, because you've had to, if you want to see a lot of the sport, you've had to subscribe to Discovery Plus to get onto Eurosport to be able to watch that, because the BBC haven't got quite as much as they've had in the past, which is a bit of a pain.
You see, this is where I think my bias kicks in, because it's not our Olympics. I almost am a bit more removed from it than I want to be. I see the odd clip that gets shared. If something's on TV, I probably skip past and go to my more favourable programme that I'd like to watch and not miss out on. But nothing's really captivating me just yet, I don't know why.
I don't know. I think previously we've made more of a big deal about who the athletes are as well. So obviously we know Tom Daley's going. Everybody knows Tom Daley's going. We knew that Adam Peaty was going, was competing, because we knew that he was going for the triple, which he didn't get, because I watched that yesterday. So he didn't get that. So, but other than that, I don't think we've made like a big deal about who the athletes are and stuff that we're sending. So that's interesting. Did you see the clip? Did you see the clip of the guy in the swimming trunks at the pool, where there was something at the bottom of the pool, and nobody was like, "Oh, I'm not getting in the pool because I'm ready to go," stuff. And he just strutted out with his speedos on, and jumped to the bottom, got that. He did a lovely dive off. It was like,
yeah. But I couldn't get to the bottom of who that guy was. Like, is that guy a member of the crowd?
I don't know either. Like, somebody was saying that he was like a lifeguard, but they don't really have lifeguards there and stuff. So but I don't know who he was. It's
the choice of speedos for me. That gave it away. This has got to be a civilian in the crowd that just happened to have his speedos.
Why have you got your speedos
that
on?
Day?
Why have you got your speedos on? Is he there, kind of hoping, like, do you know what, the French team, the somebody who's there for the French team, they're just going to be injured at the last minute, and they're like, is there anybody in the crowd who could swim for Team France? And he's like, yes, I can. and he's going to strut out with his speed. It's like, and stuff like this.
But saying that, in the UK, we've had it before where like a referee got injured and the referee couldn't become the fourth official. And so they went to the tannoy and said, is anyone in the crowd a registered referee? And there was this one guy that came running down from his crowd being like, I can do the fourth official, I can do the board. So I'm pretty sure there's them die-hard fans, and maybe this is one of them.
I think being a referee is slightly different than qualifying for the Olympics. Because I think if you're the referee and you're working, if you're competing, that's something that you've kind of earned.
Yeah.
Interestingly, a kind of a merge of the two topics. My son was saying to me, why don't we compete in the football or the soccer? Why don't we compete in the soccer at the Olympics?
Is that a question?
That's
or
a question.
You have an answer?
I have an answer. Why don't we compete in the soccer or the football?
I've got two answers. I've got a deflated English fan that's gone to 2 Euro finals and not got anything from them. Answer. Mm-hmm. And I've got a answer of why I think it personally doesn't happen. The first answer is I think that we've had our pride knocked so much in the last 4 years that I don't think we can go through to the Olympics and even stand a chance of getting a medal, or let alone being proud with having that particular medal, because we've had more competing trophies that we desired to have that we just haven't won. So it would be a knock on confidence if we didn't get anywhere close. And the other part of it is, it's going to sound really bad, I don't think that football should be, like, especially our English football team, at least our national football team, or the British football team, that with Scotland and Wales, got to conclude those guys obviously, that the whole football team, I don't think that we actually have a place at the Olympics, because we are competing consistently at a super high level. And for other nations where they don't have a team that goes into these Euro Cup finals or World Cup, etc., this is their platform, in my opinion. And I don't think we should shine the light away in certain honest opinions. I don't think we should do that.
So the reason why we don't compete in the Olympics is because we have to qualify. There are qualifiers that happen earlier in the year, and we don't compete as GB. We only compete as our home nations. So because we compete as England and Wales and Scotland and whatever, and we don't compete, that's why we're not eligible, because we don't compete ever as that group to be able to do that. When was the last time that we were in the soccer?
What, this is a guess now, right?
Yeah. When was the last time we were in the soccer? Yeah.
Well, based on what you just said, last time, let's go about 1980s, something like that, maybe.
Nope, it was 2012. So we were given a pass for the London Olympics. Oh. We were allowed to qualify for our own Olympics. So that was the last time that we did it, was at our own Olympics.
But could you imagine the divide that would create in the UK if we had to pick certain players from Scotland, certain players from Wales, from obviously the England in general, and the team that we're most familiar talking about? Like, could you just imagine?
Yeah, so it's really interesting because people say, well, why don't we do it? And lots, like, so there's quite a reasonable argument to say, like, why don't we just compete as Team GB all the time, and we'll just pick the best from all of the nations. But there is also another argument to say, well, actually, kind of it weakens like Welsh football and Scottish football, etc. Because if Definitely. They did that, they wouldn't do that. Who was the manager of the 2012 British football team?
Honestly, I feel like you're quizzing me like I'm a professional quiz player, and I love football, but I definitely don't love either of the two. Clearly, it wasn't Gareth Southgate, because you're asking me who was. Joe Cole, maybe?
Stuart Pearce.
An England legend?
Stuart Pearce. There you go. Anyway, one more Olympics and football crossover, because Claire Balding of the BBC made some comment that was in the newspapers today, because yesterday Adam Peaty didn't get his triple and he won silver, and he cried because the journey that he got there, and he was like, I'm crying because I am still the second best person in the world at swimming the 100-meter breaststroke, and I've got my silver medal, and I wear it with pride. And there was a comment that was made in relation to the English football team, who, when they came runners-up, take their medals off immediately. And
yes.
there's a lot of heat around that kind of thing. And there were some comments saying, you know, you were the second best team in Europe. You should still be proud of that. But I wonder what your take was on that.
Yeah, look, let me pretend like I'm a footballer being asked that question, because then it'd be even better. Yeah, you know, it's a great point, Stu. I think there is a whole lot of pride that goes beyond winning, and you know, it's especially coming second out of all the nations. However, it's disappointing. We play football to win. We want to be number one, and it's a team sport. We're all there to help each other get to number one. And when you don't reach number one, it's, you know, devastating, and you can't feel but you've let your nation down by going home with second place. And with the Olympics and with Formula One, there are 3 places to be won, and everyone recognises those 3 places. No one recognises the second place in football. It's always the first.
Well,
that was pretty good.
That was good. That was good. Like, you know, that was a good response. Yeah, I don't think they necessarily cover themselves in glory when they take it off. It seems quite unsporting. But it is still a sport at the end of the day, and somebody wins and somebody loses. And if my son's under 10s football team, if they lose and they're all in a really horrible, filthy mood, then they all get a telling off from the parents and saying, come on, you know, you've got to be a good sport. You played your game. The other team was better on this occasion. You've got to be a good sport. Hold your head high and just say next time will be better.
Yeah, but I don't know, at that level, though, Stu, like, I think we've had this discussion before, you know, some of those players collectively are worth, like, you know, the whole team is probably worth £1 billion that we're talking about, right? You don't have the same expectation or, you know, stress probably put on you if you're an Olympic medalist, because it doesn't happen as often. And also that team, because they're paid such high wages, for us as public, there is an expectation that they will go and deliver a result. And if you took that to a business term and you invested a lot of money in, let's say, a top FTSE 100 company, for example, you would expect the number one result, and you would always be dissatisfied with second. Even though, yeah, there's a prideful moment and you want to, you know, maybe don't take the medals off, but they do shake hands at the end of the game. They do their bit.
Oh well. Anyway, yeah. So they got. So that was like a little journey there through the Olympics and then onto football and yeah.
I can continue the theme actually, because
go
I
on,
have
go on then,
another sporting theme, and then after this,
I am not a
sporting
sporty person. I don't know why we're having so many sporty conversations, because I'm not a sporting person.
I couldn't name the England lineup, so I am completely non-sporty. But I played football on the weekend, so I enjoyed myself.
Yeah, I would have thought you would have. You play football. I have a football obsessed 9-year-old boy though. He is. So yeah. I have a 13-year-old girl who plays football, and a 9-year-old boy who plays football. Both playing teams, and he is obsessed. Like, he went through all of his. You know, when he was like 7 and 8, I thought he was going to give it up. I honestly thought he was giving up. I don't like playing football. I don't know. And then all of a sudden, partway through his 9th year, he just found it. And then now he is like Mr. Statistics. He's got them all. He knows who the players are. He's there. His idol at the moment is Jude Bellingham. That is his idol.
I mean, who's Jude? Thanks to Jude, he got us as far as we did. I think he scored a worldie of a goal. But also, just before I carry on with my topic, Stu, you are also like Father of the Year award in terms of you back your children's sporting activities. I know that for sure, privately. So I no doubt your son and your daughter absolutely love the sports they do because they've got supportive parents for it. Parent because you're on the call.
That's interesting because neither my wife nor I are particularly sporty, and I think that we've just kind of encouraged them to do something that we necessarily didn't have. Yeah. It's quite interesting because my son he says to me, "Oh, Daddy, what clubs did you do when you were a kid?" And I was like, "I didn't do any clubs. There weren't any clubs." It wasn't that kind of thing where it's like, oh, on Monday we go and play football, and then on Tuesday we go to dodgeball, and then on Wednesday we go and do this. I said like we had Cubs and Scouts, and sometimes people played football at the weekend with jumpers for goalposts, but that's it. They weren't clubs. Similarly, he says that when he has his swim lessons, he said, "Oh, Daddy, what were your swimming lessons like?" And we didn't have swimming lessons. Like, you got chucked in the pool by your dad, and hopefully you didn't drown. That was your swimming lesson when I was a kid. Like, now, swimming lessons is like a massive business. It is a machine. It is a machine.
Yeah.
You rock on up on your day. So, like, our day is Sunday mornings. You rock on up, and they are there. 30 minutes, 30 minutes, 30 minutes, 30 minutes. It's like a conveyor belt. Like our local pool, there's probably 5 sets of lessons that all go on simultaneously. It is absolutely bonkers. But anyway.
But before we digress to my next topic, my personal swimming lesson was thanks to my uncle, who, when we holidayed as a family in Mauritius, which is, I'm half Mauritian, for everyone that knows, not that I have loads of money, just my family lived there. When we holidayed to Mauritius, my uncle said, "Oh, let me teach you how to swim in the deep end." And in the sea they have them like buoys that kind of separate where you should be and where the boat should be, kind of thing. So he was like, "Hold on to my back, we'll swim out as far as we can go, and we'll hold on to the furthest one we see, and then we'll swim back in." Now, gullible old me, well, I signed up to the deal.
I know what's coming here.
Why wouldn't I trust you as my uncle? So of course, naturally, jumped on uncle's back, went out, held the rope by myself, done all the independence that I needed, and then he carried on swimming back to shore. And it was just me. And I have a personal kind of phobia and a rule of my own, which I kind of trick myself into thinking that swimming is the worst thing in the world in the middle of the ocean, which is if it's dark and pitch black and I can't see, then that means that something can see me. And I'm not a fan of that ideology. So I use fear to get me back across to the beach, which was, I don't know, at that age, we're talking like probably a 20-minute swim in panic. So
that's
my story.
My daughter's a beautiful swimmer, an absolutely beautiful swimmer. She glides through the water. I'm jealous. I'm jealous of how beautifully she swims. Lovely lines. I have a beautiful swimmer.
I have a vision of you teaching her how to glide through the water. But,
that wasn't me.
We'll put it down to the class.
That is all swim teachers. That is not me. Not me. Anyway, we've got like we've digressed hugely. Go on, carry on.
So my next topic was this is an interesting one, and it's sport related because it's Formula One. There was an announcement today, hot off the press, which was Carlos Sainz, who, if you didn't know, is a Spanish driver and he drives for Ferrari, so a hugely recognised team, is actually signing for Williams, which is a British Formula One racing team. And I just thought that I would bring that up on this topic because we're flowing with, Team GB, etc. This puts like UK Formula One teams up there with the ranks of the drivers that they've got because they're taking a Ferrari driver, which is either bad for us or good for us, but we'll take it as good for us. And I thought I would just share that news and wrap this kind of sports topic up.
Thank you for sharing. I have zero opinion on that because I know nothing about Formula One. I couldn't imagine anything more boring. That's it.
Wow.
There you go. The only thing that I know about Formula One was something happened with Lewis Hamilton just recently, and he cried, and I presume he got like some kind of record or something like that. I know nothing at all. I couldn't imagine anything more boring.
He's got too many records. Too many records. He never signs his helmets, by the way, Lewis Hamilton. Just so you know, he will never sign a full life-sized helmet because that is his pride and joy. A small one he'll sign for you, but if you ever ask him to sign a full-size one, he won't.
Well, there you go.
Anyway, we can wrap up this topic now.
If I see him, I will not ask him. Hey, I've got a follow-up from our previous podcast, because previously we were talking about the phrase "search it up" versus "look it up."
Oh yeah.
And so I went out and did my research. I put the question out on various platforms. I got no engagement on almost all of those platforms. But the one where I actually got the most engagement was on LinkedIn. Probably my most engaged post that I've had for quite some time. A really interesting thread of parents either going, "Oh, I thought my child was just being different and weird by saying that," And then, or some people kind of going, I've never heard anybody say that. It's absolutely ridiculous. And then they go, I went and asked my child, and they say search it up, and things like this. So lots and lots of responses from people saying, oh, my kids say search it up, I say this. So I think from my extensive research, I have found that it is an age thing, and there are 3 tiers. So there is...
3
tiers, yeah. So there is Gen X. Okay, so Gen X, that's kind of everybody up to about 1980-ish. They are in team look it up, which incidentally, I did a little bit of research on the etymology of that, was apparently kind of came in about the 14th century. So Gen X, look it up. Millennials, or Generation Y, Google it. And then the Zoomers, or Gen Z, then they are the core audience for Search It Up. So obviously there are people who kind of blur the lines. What generation are you?
Millennial, right?
You're a millennial. I don't know how old you are. So, but where people are who kind of are towards the edges. So I'm Generation X, but I am just kind of on the border. I'm what they call an Xennial, or a Zennial, something like this. So you're kind of like in between. So you've got some characteristics of one and some characteristics of the other. But I am fully in team look it up. But it was interesting that so many people thought that their kids were just saying something weird, and then were like, oh, I feel like I'm seen, or I feel like my children have been seen now because other people's children also say that. So there you go. That was
very interesting. It was a very interesting post, and yeah, I agree. It was definitely one of your most engaged. Actually, within like the first, 15, 20 minutes of me seeing the notification, it already had 3 or 4 comments, which I was surprised about because LinkedIn is a platform that doesn't really pop off that much, at least for me nowadays. But yeah, I think the summary of what you're trying to say, Stuart, is that the new way of saying it is the accepted way now, and we should all conform and approach it that way, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, so there you go. So that was the recap from last week, or from last time, because we didn't do one last week because you were sunning yourself in Beefa.
Well, I can't wait till you have a holiday, because I can't wait to tell the audience about it.
I tell you what, well, I am going on holiday at the end of August, so one of the things that we're going to have to do is get some filler episodes in, so that we don't have big long gaps, because I'm actually going away for quite some time. So we don't want to miss too many episodes. So one of the things is we're going to do a Q&A episode. So if you've got any questions, like what is your opinion on such and such? What are your top 3 favourite whatevers? What are any of those? Then you can email us those. And what's the email address, Jack?
hello@thespeakingofpodcast.com.
At the Speaking of Podcast?
Well, not at the.
Oh, right.
Not
okay.
at the. At.
Hello at.
Yeah. So hello@speakingofpodcast.com.
Oh, that's it. Yeah. That sounded like we were doing the wrap up then. We weren't doing the wrap up, but it just kind of occurred to me when I was just thinking about my summer holiday plans for the end of the thing. Yeah.
Well, I've got a topic that can go off that, Stu, and it's related to summer. And so yesterday I had the privilege of welcoming one of my friends over from Germany, and I done a tour of London. The usual, hey, let me show you the sights and the scenes, and in particular, what's very interesting around this time of the UK is because it's such a lovely summer season here that we haven't had, although the last couple of days have been great. It was supercar heaven.
That was my taboo topic, was the weather, because it has been unseasonably hot. So there you go.
Wow,
you lose the podcast for that week. Yes, amazing.
That's so upsetting.
You should be upset. You walked right into it.
Do you know what? I wasn't even going to start mentioning the weather, and then I said to myself, "No, I've got to give some context for the audience." So, of course,
there you go. Yes. I win gutted. The episode for the week. Anyway, carry on. Your friend came over.
Wow. That's, my friend came over, and we decided to do Tour de London, and it was great. But in particular, this time of the year, because the weather's so well respected now, there are tons and tons and tons of supercars in London, and I'm on about supercars from UK registered supercars, Dutch registered supercars, Kuwait registered supercars that are flown in. It's like the season that everyone wants to be in London and bring over their luxury item of choice, and that is a supercar, and drive around. I also went to some extremely wealthy places where houses are £10 million, £20 million, and it got me thinking, Stu, if you could have a choice of one luxury item, and I'll give you the choice, what would the luxury item be? So you've got the option of either having a supercar,
Okay.
which I don't think you'll choose. You've got the option of having a yacht, which I think you might choose, or you've got the option of a helicopter or a plane. Now, what luxury item would you choose, and why would you choose that item?
You've kind of prejudiced the question there by telling me what you think I would choose and what I wouldn't choose. I think that is difficult. Have I got a pilot who flies the helicopter?
Okay, I suppose yes. I was going to say no, but I suppose let's say you can also pilot if needs be.
Okay. I don't know. I wouldn't have the car because I don't even know what the point is of taking a supercar to London, because you can't go anywhere. You can't go anywhere quickly. You might as well go along on a bicycle for the speed you can go in London. So I do that. I like the idea of a yacht. I'd like a big yacht, a fully staffed yacht with kind of like deckhands and like a private chef and things like this. That's what I'm going to go with. I'm going to go with a yacht, but it is my fully staffed yacht with the chef and stews and all of those and deckhands and all of that who are going to do stuff. And then I'm just going to kind of just live in luxury and just getting to bring me food and drinks and stuff like that. That's what I'd do. How about you?
Yeah, I've had a lot of time to think about this, to be honest, and I was also on the yacht idea because I think that's the best way, and you can just have it in different places at different seasons, and it's easier to park, maybe potentially. I don't know. It might also be dangerous.
Do you park a boat? Do you park a boat, or do you moor a boat?
Well, yeah, you moor it, but it's technically parking, isn't it?
Kind of, yeah, right, okay.
Maybe take that one to LinkedIn and see what's acceptable.
Yeah. You would have said, I parked my plane. What, you landed the plane? Well, I parked it. It wasn't in the sky. I parked it on the ground.
That is true, though. You would park it, wouldn't you? You'd land it and then you'd park it.
You're terrible. Yeah.
You would definitely park it. Either way, I'm going to stick with yacht.
Okay.
But, if you had a yacht and I had to choose something after you, then I would choose a helicopter to land on your yacht.
Oh, it's a big yacht then.
Then we would park it.
It would if you were able to land a helicopter on my yacht, then that is a massive yacht. That would definitely have to be stuffed. For sure. Well, I don't have a yacht, and you don't have a helicopter, so all of this is really is a bit nothing really. So all there is left to do is decide what your taboo topic was. I suppose I don't really have to guess what your taboo topic was because you lost, so it doesn't really matter. But
it would be best if you did guess. Yeah.
See, because I thought it could be the Olympics, and then it could have been the weather, which it obviously wasn't because you spoke about that. Now, if we were to record last week, I was going to have my taboo topic for last week was going to be Amazon Prime Day, because I would have had a conversation to see whether you'd bought anything from Amazon Prime. But I don't think it's that, because you obviously went, No. So I am going to go with, because it's been in the media a lot, I'm going to go with the US presidential election again, and Joe Biden stepping down.
Damn right, that's exactly what it was.
Tell you what.
I thought, you always say, before we even started this podcast, he was like, hey, let's leave politics out of it. First episode, politics front and centre. And, that is your strength. You know what's in the news. And for sure, I knew that you would talk about, I thought you would, the election, because that's going to be a topic of conversation for a while.
I think we should just have that as a long-running taboo topic, because it's a long way away. It's not until like November or something, is it? The US presidential election. So it's a long haul. We're gonna have a lot of conversation about that.
It is exciting and it is interesting, and I don't know. From this side of the pond, I quite enjoy watching it.
I know it's like that gif with Michael Jackson just sitting there with the popcorn, because it's just like you just watch it and you kind of go, yeah, it's not really me. Huge amounts of money involved in the US presidential election, like hundreds of millions of pounds, but ridiculous amounts of money. Anyway, so does that mean I get a double win? Does that mean I get a double win because you lost and I picked your taboo topic? I wouldn't do that to you, Jack. I wouldn't do that to you, Jack.
No. Yeah.
Anyway, well, that is everything for this week. So, as I say, we are looking for some Q&A so we can record Q&A episodes as well. So, if you have got any comments, if you've got an opinion on parking a yacht or parking your helicopter or whatever, search it up, look it up, any of those things, then please email us at
hello@speakingofpodcast.com.
Oh, you got it right that time. Brilliant. Well, that is everything for this week. Just a reminder, I won, Jack lost. Little applause in terms of me. Yes. Brilliant. We didn't do recommendations. What are your recommendations for the week? Super quickly.
So my recommendation for this week is going to be Supercell, which is on Netflix at the moment. And I think I'm 7 episodes in, which is fantastic for me. I've really enjoyed it. And that's my recommendation. What about yourself?
I'm 5 episodes into Supercell, but I have been sidetracked a little bit by Sweet Tooth Season 3 on Netflix as well. So if you have you watched any Sweet Tooth?
I've not heard of it until then.
3 seasons online. So far it is it's a futuristic, apocalyptic thing about like human animal hybrids and stuff like this, and like a weird disease and stuff like this. I think it's the product of like a comic book type thing like that. So my recommendation is Sweet Tooth and yours is Supercell, both on Netflix, so go and watch those. So just recap again, I won the episode this week. Yes! Send us lots of emails and we will see you next Tuesday.
See you next Tuesday, everyone.